to wrap up Dundee United against Celtic to come right now. Settle back and enjoy full live commentary from West Lothian. Livingston against Hearts with Richard Foster, Michael Stewart and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Richard. Welcome to the Tony Macaroni Arena for a meeting of two clubs who find themselves in a very good place right now. Livingston unbeaten in 5, Hearts are 9 without defeat. And those good runs are why these sides sit 4th and 3rd respectively. Livingston have taken 4 points from the 2 meetings with Hearts so far this season. And a win this afternoon would take them to within 4 of today's opponents with a game fewer played. There is, as David Martindale alluded to in his pre-match interview, a huge travelling support here from Hearts as the 2 teams change ends prior to kick-off. Alan Muir, the referee, the man in charge for this one, as Hearts make their way down to the half closest to us. They will go from right to left in this first half. Livingston in all gold, the traditional home kit, as Shamal George in all pink makes his way to the far goal. Away to our left, Xander Clark in all grey, and Hearts in their traditional maroon tops, white shorts, maroon socks. This should be a good game. Certainly 2 sides who are at the top of their game right now. A number of changes from Hearts. We'll see what impact that makes. Can Livingston take advantage and really start to put some pressure on Hearts in 3rd place? I think most people would expect Hearts to stretch that advantage over the course of the remainder of the season, but you never know. As Scott Pittman prepares to get us underway, Livingston will attack the goal to our right. Xander Clark occupying that goal again, having taken over from Craig Gordon after that terrible injury, and he's served them pretty well so far. Clean sheets in his last 3 games as Livingston get us off and running, and Stephen Kingsley immediately heads the ball forward as Hearts defend. Out for a throw-in just down in front of us, and it will be Kingsley to take it. Kingsley's back in after a fairly lengthy period out. He's had a couple of head knocks recently. Hearts have been afflicted by that throughout their squad, actually. It's a really odd occurrence where Andy Halliday and, most significantly, Peter Haring have missed significant parts of the season as a result of concussions. Livingston knock it forward long. It's Kingsley underneath it once more. Kia Mortsoglu gets his first touch out to Alex Cochrane, who just lumps it forward, and it's one for Yutaro Oda to try and get onto. Dealt with initially by Fitzwater, and Livingston will have a free kick just on the edge of their own penalty area. Interested to see, Michael, what Yutaro Oda has to offer. He just made a debut in the last 5 minutes against Aberdeen, a first start, and he's given a chance up alongside Stephen Humphreys this afternoon.
Yeah, well, exactly that. Nobody can really talk with any definitive nature about what Oda's going to bring. We've not really seen him, and it's an exciting signing, that's for sure. When you look at the guys from Asia that have come over for Celtic, they've made a huge impact now. If Oda's able to have anything like that sort of impact to the Hearts side, then it'll be a signing of a good nature, that's for sure.
Former teammate of Kyogo from Vissel Kobe as Livingston come through into the penalty area. Hearts able to clear the lines out to this near side. Couple of minutes in, no goals. Nicky Devlin will come and take the throw in from the right hand side, about 15 yards away from the corner flag. Looks like he's lining up a long throw in, but instead he goes short to Omiyonga and gets it back once more right hand side. Out comes Cochrane to meet him. Devlin trying to move away from the Hearts wing back, and then there was an infringement there. It's Alan Muir allows play to continue with Livingston still in possession, but they've had to go back to the edge of the centre circle, and it's Omiyonga. Plays it down the right channel, but straight out of play, and it will be a Hearts throw in this left-hand side.
That looked like a free kick. It looked pretty obvious, and it would have been a chance for Livingston to be able to throw one into the box. Just looked as if Lawrence Shankland had caught the heel of Stephen Bradley, but the referee allowed it to play on. David Martindale certainly thought it was a free kick.
There was no great advantage for Livingston, that's for sure, in keeping the ball. Hearts trying to work it forward. It's Kingsley with the header. Omiyonga returns it up towards the edge of the penalty area. Pittman brings it under control, but well challenged by Rowles. And then Shanklin feeds Oda, and Oda could be through here on goal. Tries a little flick between his legs. That's a really good challenge back there by Morgan Boys. And he had to get his spot on. He was the last man, but it was a good foot in, and Oda denied. Here come Livingston at the other end as Kingsley gets back to defend, and then Rowles plays it to Kingsley once more. Out for a throw in, Richard Foster. That was a crucial challenge.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tackle. I think great play from Hart. Shanklin just picks the ball up, just dropped off the defence, and he puts a great ball through. I thought Oda was just going to try and run Boyles, but you know, he chops inside. Good bit of skill, but fantastic tackle, because he gets that wrong and he misses the tackle and he's through on goal, or he brings him down for a penalty. So great play from Hearts, but an equally great tackle to kind of save the day. But it's a warning to Livingston that how quickly Hearts can attack you.
Certainly can. Kingsley trying the diagonal, looking for Shanklin. It's headed out of play by Penrice over on the far side. Hearts throw in midway inside the Livy half. 4 minutes in, goalless at the Tony Macaroni as Civic picks up. What a goal that was, as you mentioned earlier on, Richard against Hibernian at Easter Road. Fabulous finish, and the energy to get from one end of the park to the other and still have the composure to finish it. It really typified the change in Toby Civic over the last few weeks and months. He really has begun to play with a confidence that was lacking at the start of the season, certainly.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of players are shocked by the speed of the game. You know, when they first come up, it's difficult to explain to people. It's very, very intense. You don't get a lot of time on the ball, and you know, he's a young enough player. He's going to take time, and you can obviously see, like as you said, you can see that he's growing in confidence. I mean, but the athleticism to get up there in the first place. But as he's running through in that ball, he knows he's got a long time to think about what he's going to do, and that sometimes makes it a lot more difficult. But then to slow himself down and show the composure. The best bit was when he chips it past the goalkeeper. Marshall gets a touch in it, and he has a little step as if I don't think it's going in, and then he realises no, I'm okay, and then he goes away and celebrates. But fantastic goal.
Livingston attack, but that's dealt with. Atkinson knocks it up towards the halfway line. Nat Atkinson, another player who hasn't seen a whole lot of game time, certainly from the start of late. He came on in both games against Hibernian in the Cup and the League, and those are his only appearances in the last 9, but here he is in from the start. Well, today
he is a perfect example of somebody that needs to start showing that he deserves more game time. You know, he's at the World Cup, he's playing against Mbappe, and he's not getting a game for Hearts. And by the way, understandably, because he's not been good enough. And that's an area of the park that Hearts need to strengthen. It's an area of the park that there is, I would suggest, there is a space to be filled, but he's not doing enough to fill it. So he's got an opportunity here today. He's got to step up. He's got to show, you know, why he should be the guy that's playing in that area of the side.
Yeah, Michael Smith not involved today at all, not even on the bench. Robbie Nielsen did mention that there was a couple of injuries and a bit of illness as well, so you can only imagine that Michael Smith comes under that bracket. But clearly, despite still being a very dependable right fullback or wing back, he is in the sort of latter stages of his career, you would have to say. As Hearts win the free kick just inside their own half. A little bit tousy in the middle of the park just now. Cam Devlin, as always, in the middle of things when it comes to midfield scraps, and it will be a free kick the visitors' way. Bruce Anderson making a few complaints, but Hearts will take the free kick just a few yards inside their own territory. Rowles, who's just signed a new extended deal, which I think he and Robbie Nielsen were delighted about. A 5-year deal, I think it was, as it's played forward. Lon Shanklin can only prevent it going out from a goal kick. He just knocks it for a throw-in instead to Livingston deep in their own half, and the travelling support making a good amount of noise. And to be fair, Livingston filled this main stand as well. It's a good crowd, only one stand unoccupied in a game that's live on telly, which tells you all about how both clubs are performing right now. Livingston trying to clear their lines. Omiyonga gets in ahead of Kiyomoto Soglu, and here's Anderson over the halfway line out to the right hand side. Bradley, we got a couple of goals in that second half comeback win over Steny, including a terrific free kick. Hearts have won it back though. Devlin knocked to the ground by Pittman. That'll be a good contest actually over the course of this 90, you would imagine. Two pocket dynamos in the midfield for either side. flicked forward by Kingsley. Pretty aimless really from Kingsley. He's capable of a lot better than that, and Oda won't catch it. Goal kick to Livingston. 8 minutes on the clock. Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it's you know, I don't think the wind's helping. Hearts are with the wind at the moment. You see, any time they go forward, the ball's running right through. It's going to be hard to get in behind, you know, in this half because of that. But it's a bit scrappy, but it's going to, you know, it's fast and furious. There's not a lot of time in field. That's what the game's going to be until it hopefully settles down. You see there is the goalkeeper goes to take a kick, the ball actually moves. So it's obviously tough conditions, and that's why both teams seem to just be helping the ball forward, putting it in dangerous areas, and probably at this stage probably hoping for a bit of a mistake from the other team.
Livy have it through Fitzwater, who I think there's still some dubiety about whether he'll be here at the end of the window. He's out of contract at the end of the season, and David Martindale was preparing himself potentially to lose the centre-back before January is finished, as he goes back towards his own goal, but Shamal George comes out to alleviate any danger anyway before Humphreys can get there. Humphreys, another player who, mainly through injury, has not started for a long period. He has come on, I think, in the last 4 games. This is his first start since being injured against Celtic back in October, as Bradley helps the ball on down the right-hand side. Rowles for the defensive header. Omiyonga returns it. Then in steps Kingsley. Omiyonga once more, chests it down, then volleys it forward. Rowles in the way before Anderson can get there. Livingston will accept the throw-in.
You know, it's important as well that players recognise when they need to put their foot on the ball and make a pass. You know, you can get lulled into this sense of everything's a hook, and you just help the ball on and turn the off position. There has to be a bit of composure. The last time the ball dropped in the middle of the park, it's not to suggest that Kemorzoglu was doing the wrong thing, but he was very quick to just like lash it up the park, kick it in behind. You need to be able to recognise, in particular in the middle of the park, when you just put your foot on the ball and try to make a pass, because otherwise the game will never settle.
Kingsley with a long throw in up towards the halfway line. It's gone Livingston's way this time, more or less on the halfway line. Right hand side as Livingston come forward. It's Devlin, the captain, to take this one. Started every single game so far this season as captain. Very, very dependable player at right back for Livy. Looking for options down the right hand side. Bradley comes in, Devlin knocks it out of play though. Another throw in, quickly taken by Anderson, looking to find Scott Pittman, but Rowles just shepherds that back to Clark. Good quick thinking there from Bruce Anderson, and he almost found Scott Pittman inside the penalty area, but Hearts able to defend. Rowles, short ball for Civic. I'm not sure he wanted it in that territory. Knocks it back to Clark, who goes long up towards the halfway line. Humphreys and Shankland combine to keep possession for Hearts. Back with Civic, about 15 yards inside his own half. Gets it back once more from Atkinson. It's a good bit of play there from Devlin. Takes the short ball and out to Atkinson, more or less on the halfway line, right hand side. Back to Civic once more, and then tries to switch the play to Cochrane. Finds him. Slightly tricky ball to control under pressure from Bradley, who fouled the Hearts man, and it will be a free kick just a few yards inside the Livy half, in from the left touchline.
Hearts are just doing exactly what you said, Michael. They're putting their foot in the ball, they're playing a few passes, they're trying to drag Livingston out to obviously hit that ball in behind. Decent switch of play there from Civic, but because of the wind and the pitch, it's going to slow things down, so you're not actually going to get away from anyone with any real pace. So it might be a case that you're going to need to play around them.
Devlin knocks it back to his goalkeeper Shamal George, who clears up to the halfway line. Pittman says he didn't get a shout from Stephen Kelly there, and he heads it out of play when Kelly looked like he would probably be able to bring it under control had Pittman left it. Lack of communication in the middle of the park there, letting Livy down. It will be a throw into Hearts at 15 yards inside the Livy half, right hand side. Civic gets it back from Shankland. Kemorzoglu now looks inside, then takes a couple of touches. He's forced back the way by Omiyonga. Keeps his composure. Kemorzoglu just helps the ball down the right hand side. Returned by Kelly. There's Rowles with a header up towards the halfway line. It is really quite scrappy just at the moment, as much as those two sides have been playing good football. Here's Omiyonga picking up in the middle of the park, finds Devlin. Devlin has Bradley right hand side of the penalty area. Can he find a teammate? It's good defending in the end by Kingsley, but Livingston had half a chance there to create something, and they just couldn't finish it off. They will have a corner kick. 12.5 minutes in. It's Livy 0, Hearts 0.
That all comes from when Kiermont Zoglu had the ball in the middle of the park. You can just tell lack of game time, not convinced and confident what to do. He's looking at options, taking an extra touch. And you do that in this game, and you're not going to see the pass, Livy will close you down and hunt you.
Stephen Kelly, right-hand side, corner kick comes in. Attacking it was Fitzwater, but Hearts clear the lines, and here they go in the counter, and they're funneling bodies forward. Livingston trying to get back. It's Humphreys. Oh, he should have played in Devlin. He took a really poor touch, Humphreys, and Livingston able to clear pretty comfortably, but that was poor play from Humphreys. Here come Livingston at the other end. Clark out of his goal to clear out of play, and he clears the danger. But at the other end, Michael, I'll take you back to the St Mirren game at Tynecastle, and we saw Humphreys come off the bench along with Quall, and if you remember, he had a kind of similar opportunity, and he got his pass all wrong, and he took the wrong option there again, didn't he?
Well, I wouldn't so much say that he took the wrong option.
Took a wrong touch.
Aye, he just took a bad touch. You know, Cammy Devlin was making the run up. You probably were thinking that another touch from Humphreys, and then he could have slipped him in, but he just took a bad touch. The game against St Mirren, he just made the wrong choice completely. He tried to go himself rather than sliding Garang Cole in. On that occasion, there was a good break. He just took a heavy touch.
Yeah, but it was certainly a big opportunity for Hearts on the counter-attack, and I'm sure the visiting fans who are hearing their numbers would have thought that was a real chance for the opening goal. As it was, it came to nothing as Clark takes a free kick, knocks it long. Boyes clears it down the left-hand side. Pittman knocks it back to Sean Kelly, who looks over the top at Rowles, reads the danger and heads it down, and then Kiermont Zoglu gets it back for Kingsley, who just lashes it forwards. And Devlin's got plenty of time to bring this down midway inside his own half.
He's backtracking there and he's under pressure, but I think, you know, and I expect better from Stephen Kingsley. He could have tried to get that ball to Alex Cochrane, who was in the left wing-back area, and he had a bit of space. Yes, he was getting closed down by Bradley, but, you know, Stephen Kingsley's a good quality player, and you know, talking about Kiermont Zoglu in the middle of the park and making the right choices, I just think Stephen Kingsley should have recognised there that was the time to be able to try and make the pass, and Cochrane had time and space. It didn't have to be a perfectly accurate ball. He was just going to work it into an area for him.
Lawrence Shankman will just pull back there, and it will be a free kick to Hearts. We played a quarter of an hour, no goals, no tests for either keeper, a couple of what you might call half openings, one at either end, but really nothing to write home about. Hearts though have the free kick about 20 yards inside the Livy half, right of centre. It's going to be Alex Cochrane who'll go across the left footer to take this one. Livingston holding a line a good few yards outside their own penalty area to try and keep Hearts at bay as we await the opening goal. It's Cochrane swinging it into the penalty area. Kingsley will attack it. He won't be able to keep it in though, and it's harmlessly behind for a goal kick. 16 in, Livy 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it's a good angle for a cross, but it's so tough with the wind. You know, you're trying to get it in there so they can go and head that first time. I think maybe just hang it up to the back post and go and get someone to attack it and then play off second balls. It's going to be really difficult to get the ball accurately into the box from there, because, you know, the Hearts are very much with the wind and everything is just blowing out behind the goal.
Livingston have won their last couple in the league, and they're looking to win 3 in a row in the league for the first time in a couple of years. As Anderson picks up, and then Bradley fouled by Cam Devlin right on the halfway line, and it will be a Livingston free kick, more or less right on the right touchline as well, as Livingston come forward. Devlin will just leave it for Fitzwater to take, and a word in the passing from David Martindale for the skipper Devlin. Fitzwater eyeing up his options, then fires it forward up to the edge of the penalty area, but Anderson almost in there. Kiermont Zoglu just left it, but Anderson couldn't latch onto it.
That was a great ball for Clark.
It really was. He picked out Stephen Humphreys, but he couldn't gather it, and the ball back to Shamal George. He just knocks it out of play over on the far side, but yeah, terrific.
It's a pity he never meant that, because he took a great touch with his back.
Yeah, Xander Clark is... He couldn't have wished for a better start to his Hearts career. You're talking about 4 clean sheets in the last, is it 5 games?
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of those games where he's come up with big saves as well. It's been a really, really important, and signing for Hearts, because you're looking at Craig Gordon at the age he's at. Wonderful goalkeeper, but you looked behind him and you thought to yourself, God forbid he has an injury, they need somebody else there. Xander Clark's come in, practically the first half of the season he's had to sit and twiddle his fingers and thumbs until obviously that horrific injury to Craig. He stepped in now and it's proved an invaluable signing for Hearts.
Hearts have a corner. Alex Cochrane, right hand side, swings it into the 6-yard box. The header comes in and it's over the top in the end. It was Shanklin who got in the end of it, and what was he, 6-7 yards out, and although there was plenty of Livy bodies in there, he rose and got the header in, but it was a yard or so too high, and it remains Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, I think he should do better. I think you see his reaction. He feels, you know, he's frustrated. He feels he should get that on target. Fantastic corner in, and he gets above the Livy defender, and he probably should do better with it. Someone of his quality should be getting that on target.
Yeah, that's probably the clearest cut opportunity we've had so far, and Lawrence Shanklin, the form he's been in, you did expect at least a test there for Shamal George, as Livingston have to do a bit more defending, but Fitzwater does it well under pressure from Oda, and then Omyonga squeezes it down the right flank but couldn't find a teammate, and Kingsley returns it, but that's pretty aimless again from Kingsley, who's not quite got his eye in yet in terms of the...
It's not easy because of the conditions, but you can see how frustrated he is with himself because of the quality that he possesses. But, you know, trying to drop those balls into areas on this part with that wind, it becomes a pretty accurate pass that's needed.
Here come Livingston, that's an accurate pass down the left-hand side. Bodies in the box, Anderson misses his kick and Raul's able to block. It was a poor effort from Anderson, he should really have done better. He's managed to retrieve the situation, then he loses possession. I thought he was fouled there at the edge of the box, but Alan Muir was in a good position and decided otherwise, and Hearts have kept it alive down the right-hand side. Humphreys trying to get away from Boys, finds Oda, almost finds Oda, as Devlin comes back and makes the challenge, knocks it behind for a corner. Devlin's furious with the referee, who felt Anderson was fouled at the edge of the other box, but going back to the Anderson opportunity, Richard, it really was a good one.
Yeah, I think I actually think the ball initially is for Anderson running the channel. I think it's Penrice who's out there, him or Bradley. Decent cutback, and Anderson just misses his kick. He swings, he just has to guide that one towards goal. He tries to swing it misses the ball, and then that sparks Hearts into life. Ball goes up, Humphreys does really well wide, plays it past to Oda, and he's just on his heels. He was waiting for it, and it allows Devlin, good defending, to get back in and clear it for the corner.
Corner kick once more then, Alex Cochrane right hand side, over Omyonga, over everyone, and all the way out for a throw-in on this near side, right down at the corner flag, and it goes in Livingston's favour. Hearts threatening, then Livingston threatening. Still no real work for either goalkeeper, but it's beginning to open up a little bit the game as Devlin prepares to take the throw in. 21 minutes on the clock. There's no goals in Livingston so far. Remember, Dundee United, Celtic to come. It's a 4 o'clock kick-off. Stick with us on Sports Sound for that, and of course highlights of both games and the best of yesterday's action on Sports Scene this evening at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. Hopefully a few goals from this game to savour later on, as Devlin, Nicky Devlin that is, knocks it forward for Livingston. Sibbick has to go back and just knocks it out of play. His chances being taken.
Livingston obviously are trying to get the pace of Bruce Anderson in behind, and with the fact that they're not shooting with the wind behind them, it's a little bit easier for them to get that ball and drop into an area, and Hearts are having to be conscious and aware of that, because there's been a number of occasions that it's been dropped over. You're thinking Bruce Anderson's about to get there, but one of those three defenders are having to mop it up, and they're going to have to keep doing that, because that is what Livingston are looking to do, is turn the game when the ball's dropping, get over the top for Anderson as quickly as possible.
It's actually horrible for a defender, because you kind of try and guess where the ball's going to land to either header it or hook it clear, and then all of a sudden it holds up and it's under your feet on a tough, sticky surface as well. So
with somebody breathing down your neck.
Exactly. So it's a decent enough tactic from Livingston, but the quality of the pass just to be a little bit better.
Here's Oda, who miscontrols the ball, and Livingston pick up, and it's Bradley coming down the right-hand side. Oda trying to get back. Also Kingsley in close proximity. Bradley comes back the way to Devlin, slightly misplaced pass, and Livingston have to come back to the halfway line and start again. It's Sean Kelly, spreads play out to the left-hand side, good bit of composure and a good pass from Kelly to Penrice, and now it's Stephen Kelly taking over, coming in from the left-hand side. Pittman goes down, and he wins inside a free kick for the challenge by Cam Devlin, and it's a decent opportunity, a decent position this for Livingston, about 15 yards outside the penalty area, left-hand side, for a chance to throw the centre-backs forward and try and get something on this in the penalty area.
Yeah, good play from Sean Kelly, just as you say, switching the play, bit of composure, and then good from Pittman. He gets the wrong side of the Hearts midfield, gets his body in the way and is fouled, but a decent chance. They've got good height inside Livingston.
So the free kick has the two Kellys over it, Sean and Stephen.
Nicky Devlin is potentially round the back free as Hearts line up. I think Kingsley's trying to speak to them, let him drop in. The moment he's got Fitzwater to look after.
Sean Kelly low ball in, it's not a good delivery, and Shanklin able to clear pretty comfortably at the near post, but you were really expecting better.
Well, it doesn't matter, but you know how Hearts line up if the delivery is as poor as that. But the reason I bring it up is when you think back to the league game here earlier, and Livingston score a goal, win the game with a set play. It was a poorly defended set play, and they win the game. You know, that can be the difference in a tight game like this. It's most teams will do it. They'll line up on the edge of the box. They're not man for man marking, they're just marking certain areas, and if you get an overload round the back and the delivery is good, then you've got the potential of getting a free header, and that was certainly how it was getting lined up from Livingston there, but the delivery was just so poor.
24 and a half played, it's goalless in Livingston as the home side come down the left-hand side. Anderson marshalled by Sibic, who knocks it out of play for a Livy throw-in, far side, just a few yards away from the corner flag, and the captain Nicky Devlin will go across and presumably launch one in to the penalty area. And Livingston look to try and make something of it. Neither goalkeeper overly troubled so far. Livingston trying to change that here. Devlin's throw-in comes in to the edge of the 6-yard box. Cam Devlin able to get it clear, back out to Nicky Devlin on the far side. He can't really make anything of it, and the other Devlin picks up for Hearts. Hearts can't keep it though, and then Penrice was knocked to the ground, but Alan Muir says there was nothing wrong with the challenge. Hearts come forward, right hand side, it's Humphreys waiting on support from Atkinson. It comes back in field instead to Cam Devlin, tries to spin away from a couple of players and does so successfully. Good play from the little Australian. Back to Humphreys, and now Kingsley midway inside the Livy half, and he's absolutely furious with himself again, because his attempt to play that ball into the penalty area goes right behind for a goal kick, and we're used to seeing that the left foot of Kingsley is like something to behold when it's on point, but so far this afternoon, as you say, the conditions are tricky, but usually he'd be able to master them.
Yeah, he's got his right foot on his left foot, hasn't he? Not what we would normally see from him, but I think sometimes when you're having that kind of game, just feel your way back into it, play a few simple passes, get your distance, get your technique right, because the undoubted quality in his left foot we've seen numerous occasions.
Kai Rowell's out to the left-hand side for Cochrane.
See, that's better. That's poor from Oda. There's been a couple of occasions where he's miscontrolled it, but the last couple of moments from Hearts were better, and on both occasions it comes from Kai Rowell's just playing a pass, releasing somebody, the attack before he just composed himself, because it can come very easy. You get caught in this mentality of ball drops, hook it on, instead of just trying to continue to look and find that ball. In the last attack, Kai Rowell slipped it into Humphreys, who was in lots of space, and they were able to build the attack. And that one there, ball's bouncing, but he just feeds it into an area where Alex Cochrane was. He's able to pass it up to Oda, but Oda miscontrolled it.
Yeah, he's not quite got to the grips with the game so far, Utara Odo, but it's a tough game to come and make your first start. Tough surface, tough conditions, tough team to play against. Livingston have a throw on right-hand side, and again it's an opportunity for Devlin here to launch one in. Hearts' only defeat in the last 12 domestically came against Rangers. They've won 8 and drawn 3 around that, and they're on excellent form, but it's a real test of their mettle here this afternoon as Devlin does launch it into the edge of the 6-yard box again. It's Cam Devlin, the diminutive Australian, who gets his head to it to clear his lines. Omiyonga then hits the deck, and that's a free kick.
That's not a foul. And whether the linesman is here communicating to the referee, I don't know, but he didn't put his flag up. That is a shoulder to shoulder, and Stephen Omiyonga just falls to the ground.
Quickly taken. I'm not sure it was the best idea, but Livingston might yet make something of it, but they don't. Stephen Kelly's pass for Sean Kelly wasn't good enough, and another opportunity to put the ball in the box. It comes and goes, but Omiyonga will return it onto the chest of Fitzwater, who's still up there. Penrice trying to get there, but Atkinson's there first inside the penalty area to knock it out for a throw-in on the far side for the home side, who fans like what they're seeing just the last couple of minutes. A cross comes into the 6-yard box, but Xander Clark off his line to collect comfortably for Hearts. Almost half an hour on the clock. It's Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
He had a chance just to roll that to Cammy Devlin, and he comes and takes it really well, but there's, the opportunities to get the ball down and pass it are still there in a game like this, and you have to take them, because I've already said on a couple of occasions that you can get lulled into a 90-minute scrap, and you don't want that. You need to be able to bring a bit of quality to the game, and at the moment the game hasn't settled, which makes it all the more important when moments like that, the player that's on the ball has to be willing to do it, but the guys off of the ball have got to keep showing for it. They've got to keep showing and helping their teammate.
I think when Xander gets the ball there, I think Hearts need to realise how far he's kicking it. Penrice allows that just to drop over his head, goes out for a throw-in, because there's no pressure on him. Whereas if Xander gets the ball in his hands, get yourself right up to the 18-yard box, because that's where the ball's going to land. They've got Humphreys up there. Oda's a good size. That's your fault, Al.
He's a good size.
He's a good size.
He's diminutive.
Just get the ball up there and go and fight for seconds, because he's kicking it right over the top of everyone.
Just blame Al for everything.
I take absolute no responsibility for that. Livingston have a throw-in, halfway line, right-hand side, to be taken by Nicky Devlin. Yeah, the game, it's not been the best spectacle. The conditions haven't helped for sure. As Michael says, that particularly from Hearts, you're expecting the quality to begin to shine through. Rowles gets the header in, so too Sean Kelly. Helps it forward, Kiyomotsoglu underneath it, then Atkinson just fires it up to the halfway line. Penrice in the way. It's a ball back from Sean Kelly. Penrice down the left-hand side for Stephen Kelly. He hits the deck, but it'll just be a throw into Hearts midway inside their own half on the right-hand side.
It's not easy, but they need to start finding somebody to put the foot on the ball and make a couple of passes. They've done it on a couple of occasions, but the battling is there. They're in that game. They are competing. It's not as if they're being overwhelmed and swamped. Now it takes the courage to be able to get the ball down and start to make a few passes. That's where bravery comes in, not just in regards to competing and battling and tackling. They need to show the bravery on the ball now as well.
Kingsley's done really well there, because Cochrane doesn't help him. He's having a bit of a tough time with the passing, and Cochrane just takes off in behind. Now, recognise your teammate struggling a bit, go long and come short and just get a ball to feet and keep the ball, where it eventually goes back the way they kick it long, and now Livingston are on the attack. Well, they were.
Yeah, Pittman fouls Devlin though, and it will be a free kick to the visitors, just a few yards inside their own half.
And they need to, things like this, get the ball down, get playing, keep the tempo in the game, but in a sense of in possession. Don't let the game drift.
Devlin takes it back the way to Civic, and infield to Rowles. Australian centre-back plays it into Kiyomotsoglu, who's immediately under pressure from Omiyonga. That was really good pressing from Livingston. He recognised as soon as that pass from Rowles went into Kiyomotsoglu that he was struggling with his back to the play.
But the whole thing, they took the free kick, they were too slow to take it, they play it back the way, which is an invitation for Livingston to go and press them, and then it gets played into Kiyomotsoglu, who you could tell wasn't comfortable with the ball coming in there. He didn't have a picture of where he was going to play it, and then the whole thing was 3 passes that were too slow, and you play it in the middle of the park. You just know that's a gift to Livingston. Go and play the way you want to play. Go and win the ball back.
I would imagine that's something Martindale has said. recognise when to press,
Yes.
i.e. a slow pass, a backwards pass,
Yep.
a straight pass into midfield.
Yep. Hearts have it back though, and it's Shanklin poking it out to Cochrane, who crosses the halfway line, tries to look for Oda through the middle, but Fitzwater in the way, picked up by Cam Devlin, closed down by Omionga, gets it back though
Out the other side.
from Kingsley. Ponderous though again from Hearts in the midfield. Eventually
No, it's
Civic though
better.
gets it out to the right hand side for Atkinson.
Al, look, you know, in terms of Ponderous, like, you can't play everything one touch, but you need to recognise where the space was there, and that was exactly it. You know, in from Cam Devlin, sorry, out from Cam Devlin, the other side. Yes, he takes extra, but he's taking care of his pass, and the space was out there, knowing that when Civic gets the ball, Atkinson's got acres of space out there. Cochrane on one side and Atkinson on the other. They need to start utilising that in terms of side to side. That's where the space is. The space is not in the middle of the park, but you need to get the ball in there and quickly out the other side.
Here's Bruce Anderson for Livy down the right channel. Watched by Riles, gets it back to Omionga. Kiyomorsoglu with him. Now it's Devlin, crosses in from the right hand side. It's a good ball. Stephen Kelly back into the box. Might break for Stephen Bradley. Can't get his shot away, and Shanklin's back there to clear Hearts' lines as Livingston really threatened there. But Stephen Kelly with a terrific ball in from Devlin. But he decided to try and play it back into the danger area rather than go for goal. Was that the right?
No, he's got to head it. He's got to head it. It's a fantastic cross from Devlin. It's got everything you want on it. It's got pace. It's coming right onto his head. You're just thinking, head it a goal. You know, he makes Xander Clark make a save, but I mean, great agility. He jumps and plays the ball back. But I just think, just go for goal there. Be greedy, and you probably put your side 1-0 up.
Yeah, Livingston haven't brought a save out of Xander Clark as yet. But equally, Hearts haven't forced Shamal George into action either. Trying to do that just now as the ball slipped through by Cam Devlin looking for Oda. Livingston no managed to clear. And it's Stephen Kelly trying to squeeze the ball through for Omionga. Omionga left-hand side for Livy. Plays the ball off Kiyomorsoglu and gets his side. A throw-in over on the far side. 10 minutes until the interval. And it's still Livingston 0, Hearts 0. And there's an injury here to Devlin, Cam Devlin, that is. And he'll require a bit of treatment. Hearts physio waved on. Didn't see any particular incident that caused them to go down, so not entirely sure what the nature of the problem is here for the Australian midfielder, and a chance for both managers to get some instructions on. Well, I say both managers, but Robbie Nielsen's not in the dugout. He's serving a ban, so he's in the stand, so it'll be his coaching staff who are relaying the messages as Livingston come over and take some fluids on. As Cam Devlin continues to receive treatment here. I think you were saying earlier on, Mikey, that this is not a particularly happy hunting ground for Hearts. They have Olivia have just been beaten once in the last 4 here against Hearts, and there was a victory earlier on this season in September. Christian Montagno's goal separated the sides on that occasion, and a draw at Tynecastle when Kai Rowles was sent off. But Ginelli with the goal for Hearts after Stephen Kelly had scored for Livy.
I'm thinking back to last season. I was remembering the game here. Hearts ended up winning 1-0, but they started with McInnes in the middle of the park, and he got subbed after half an hour. Peter Haring came on, and without wanting to predict things too much, I do think that Robbie will be looking at the middle of the park and he'll be thinking that he needs to make a substitution perhaps at half time. They are competitive here, you know. This is a very even game. There's not much between the, but Hearts have got to show greater quality, and I just feel, understandably to a great extent, with Kiyomorsoglu, because he's not played a great deal, but he's lacking confidence and he doesn't want to get on the ball. It's one of those classic ones where when his teammates have got the ball, he's just standing next to his opponent. I can't get the ball, and they need everybody to be getting on it to be able to bring the quality into the game.
Well, it's the exact position that Robert Snodgrass has excelled in all season for Hearts, and you wouldn't be too surprised if in fact there is a change coming now, but I think that's because Cam Devlin is not going to be able to continue. It's George Grant who is preparing to come on, so there is going to be a change in the Hearts midfield, but for different reasons. As Livingston pick up game back on.
Devlin looks like he's moving okay there.
Yeah, I mean, if Cammy Devlin needs to go on, that is a huge blow for Hearts. Huge blow, because he's the one that's got a bit of energy and he's actually looking to try to get on it as well.
Here's Civic in possession for Hearts. Well, Grant's certainly stripped and ready to come on, so I can only imagine that's the change that's going to happen. Could be wrong. Here's Rowles playing it forward. Fitzwater in ahead of Humphreys. The change is coming now, and the board does show Cam Devlin's number 14, and off he troops to be replaced by George Grant with 7 minutes left in the first half. And yeah, he's not a player that Hearts would want to lose at this stage of the game.
No, not at all. And look, here's two guys that have been brought to the club in the middle of the park, Grant and Keemort-Zoglu, and they've not done well enough. You know, there's two players that I could go and I'd feel pretty confident of going and getting you two centre midfielders from the SPFL that would have a better impact in there. And this is to show credit to the recruitment team at Hearts in regards to their two signings that have come in and not hit the ground running, but the side as a whole have not suffered.
Anderson goes down in the penalty area. There's absolutely no question in my mind that there was anything resembling a penalty, despite the howls from the home fans. He tried to just knock the ball beyond Kai Rowles and get in. Rowles just stood his ground as he ran back towards his own goal, and Anderson hit the deck, but not for me, Richard.
No, nothing in that. I think Anderson tries to make the most of it because he knows he's not going to get the ball.
Yeah.
Good defending. He just didn't have the pace to get round the other side of Rowles there, or he's actually probably just too quick for it to happen. But nothing in that for me.
That to me typifies Kai Rowles. He senses danger very quickly. He's got a really good positional sense, and he's a bit of an old school defender. You know, he doesn't even mess about. Definitely not a foul, but he's been a wonderful signing for Hearts.
Yeah, talking of the recruitment, I mean, he's been a big success, certainly. As Livingston win a free kick just on the edge of their own box. It was Sean Kelly who was fouled, and it's, I would guess, been a bit of a frustrating first half, not only for the players, for the managers watching it as well. No real quality in the game as such, very few chances of any great note, and still no goals with about 5 minutes left to play in this opening period. As Shamal George takes the free kick, but it holds up in the air. Atkinson able to pull it out of the air, but Hearts can't keep a hold of the ball, and Stephen Kelly gets the pass off to Omiyonga, who just about finds Nicky Devlin, who plays it forward early. Sibic in the way, comes off his knee. It'll be collected by Penrice, left hand side for Livy, midway inside the Hearts half, infield to Pittman. Pittman has Omiyonga alongside him. Omiyonga out to the right hand side now for Bradley, right hand side of the penalty area, up against Cochrane. Devlin makes the run off him. Omiyonga picks up instead, angle of the box on the right hand side, swivels away from Keemort-Zoglu. Good bit of play there by Bradley, goes down, and no free kick given on the edge of the box. Hearts come away and will look to try and hit him on the counter.
No, this is, you know, look, this is a classic case of where Hearts are getting sucked into, you know, you want to look to try to turn the opposition, but you're breaking forward and you've got comfortable possession. Make the pass, play the game, you know, play your normal game at that point. You're not under any pressure. You know, I'm pretty sure at half-time Robbie Nielsen will be trying to hammer that message home, or the coaching staff will be hammering that message home, that they need to calm down in possession.
Foul there by Atkinson on Penrice, and Alan Muir going across to speak to the Hearts player. The assistant on the far side was right in front of that. I think there's going to be a booking here potentially for the Australian wing-back.
It didn't look like there was much in it, to be honest.
Just a fractionally, it wasn't. He just trying to block the ball forward.
And going back to the one here, I don't think that's a foul on Bradley. I think he goes down far too easily. But I tell you what, if I was Nicky Devlin, I'd be absolutely raging, because yes, we know he's going to cut in his left foot, but Devlin makes a fantastic overlap and he's free. He's actually beyond the defence. Just slide him in, but no, you come into bodies and the chance kind of peters out there. But if you're Devlin and you make, it's all about timing as a fullback. He times it perfectly, just roll him in and he's in behind and he's crossing across the Hearts box. But poor choice from Bradley there to go himself.
Yeah, and when he went down, he was almost trying to go through a space that wasn't there. Two players of Hearts just again standing on the ground, and the claims were waved away by Alan Muir. First yellow card of the game then for Nat Atkinson for that challenge on Penrice a moment ago, as we tick towards half time Fitzwater plays it forward, out of play over on the far side. It comes off a Hearts body, and it will be a throw into Livingston. Still goalless in this first period. Penrice back for Stephen Kelly, and now Boys on the halfway line plays it down the left-hand side, looking for Penrice once more. It comes back to Stephen Kelly. Now Sean Kelly quickly closed down, and Hearts pick up possession. It's Humphreys, lays it back for Kiermont Soglu. He tries to pick the pass down the right channel for Shanklin, but the wind being behind their backs has not really worked in Hearts' favour at all. The balls over the top have simply been hit too strongly, and it will be a goal kick for Livingston as Kiermont Soglu's attempted pass for Shanklin is overhit.
Yeah, it's the right pass, isn't it? But it's the wrong execution. He doesn't get helped by the wind, but yeah, he's just got to take a bit off it. They've got to recognise that they don't need to put so much into it. It'll be different in the second half when they come out. You see how much that goal kick holds up. Doesn't even get to the halfway line.
Devlin plays it forward for Livingston. On the chases, Bruce Anderson. Rowles just stretches to knock it away. Atkinson can't deal with it. Pittman on the edge of the box. Now with Bradley, right hand side. Cuts it back. Oh, Pittman couldn't quite get there. Stephen Kelly will pick up edge of the box on the right foot. Takes the shot. Tame one into the arms of Xander Clark. Approaching the final minute of the first 45. It's Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
It's a very good cutback, actually, right on the penalty spot. I think everyone just gets sucked in. They go too far into the box, and there's no one available for the cutback. But you know, it seems we'll have moments of the game where it sparks into life, and then it goes kind of quiet for a few minutes. But no real quality in the final third as of yet. But you can see it's just teetering on the edge, and hopefully we'll get a goal soon, Al.
Yeah, I mean, if Livy had somebody sniffing around about the penalty spot, they would have been stepping onto what was, as Richard said there, a good cutback to a dangerous area. I think if they tried to play it across the face of the goal, I'm not sure that it would have been able to get through because there were so many Hearts players there.
It's the kind of area where Scott Pittman has made a career out of arriving, but he was just 2 or 3 yards away from it. Here come Hearts at the other end looking for a goal before half-time. Omuyonga slides in on Humphreys but can't win possession, and so Humphreys gets the pass off to Shanklin. Across goal it comes. Oh, it's dangerous, but it's not turned in. Don't know if they got a touch off anyone on its way through. There was Hearts bodies in there trying to make something of it. Shanklin with a dangerous ball. Hearts couldn't capitalise. Livy 0, Hearts 0.
Well, that's the closest that I think anybody's come. You know, I think Kiermont Soglu's claiming there was a push or a shove, but there was probably about 3 Hearts players there in between the posts. You're just waiting for one of them to get a touch on it.
There's a check. I think Alan Muir was certainly holding play up just for a minute. 2 minutes of added on time. We're into Alan Muir's just asking Shamal George to hold off taking this goal kick, so perhaps Kiermont Soglu has a case in terms of there being an infringement inside the penalty area as the ball comes across goal. But he's just waving play to continue now, so clearly Stephen McLean in the VAR room deciding there was nothing in that.
That was better from Kiermont Soglu. He stepped forward and he made a pass that actually got to Humphreys, and then they were able to build the attack.
It's a fantastic ball across from Shanklin, and I actually think at the back post someone gets in, one of his own players gets in Cochrane's way. It looked like he was going to step on and hit it, but there's too many bodies there.
Penrice fouling Shanklin over on the far side. Hearts looking for a yellow card, I think, here, but I think Alan Muir belatedly is going to call Penrice to him. Certainly a free kick to Hearts on the right hand side, and perhaps a final chance in this first half. And the Hearts fans not happy, having seen the yellow card dished out a minute ago to Nat Atkinson.
But you can understand why. That is such an easy one for the referee, I think. You know, you've booked Penrice, you booked Atkinson for a similar challenge,
yeah, very similar, wasn't it?
And it's an easy one. You know, you wonder why fans and players get annoyed with referees. It's that instance right there.
Yeah, caught him late. Anyway, Hearts will hope to make something of this free kick to be taken by Cochrane. It's a flat, low delivery and all the way through to Shamal George. Not a good one from Cochrane. And comfortable for the big Livy keeper to take into his possession.
I think you need to play a pass there from that. It's it's deep, it's wide, it's a horrible angle for a free kick. I think you just need to play a pass and get a better angle on the cross.
Here's Grant getting on the ball for the first time, but the half-time whistle goes. A first half, it has to be said, of very little in the way of high-quality football. The conditions are not great in terms of being particularly windy on the the artificial surface here hasn't helped things, and neither side has really been able to play the type of football that we've come to expect. Lawrence Shanklin had a header over after about 19 minutes, when normally you would expect him to hit the target at the very least, the form he's been in. Jamal George really hasn't had a save to make. In the home goal, there was a Stephen Kelly shot just before the interval there from the edge of the box that Xander Clark had to hold, but it was very, very comfortable for the big keeper, and really beyond that he hasn't had anything else to deal with either. So at half-time at the Tony Macaroni Arena, it's Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Gordon Buchanan, what 3 words would be on the front of your autobiography?
The granny magnet.
Join me, Mark Nelson, for the show with loads of laughs. Xander Murray.
I absolutely adore sushi.
Change days for footballers is what I would like to say. Sushi.
I know, it beats a haggis supper, I tell you.
There's plenty of twists and turns as well-known names share their good and bad tales.
I got into a lift with someone called Bjork, but I got confused with her name in a dance, and I began twerking for her benefit. That was not so successful.
Listen Fridays from 1:30 on BBC Radio Scotland, or by searching for the good, the bad and the unexpected on the BBC Sounds app.
You're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon, midway through the game at the Tony Macaroni. It's not been a classic by the sound of things. Livingston 0, Hearts 0. 4 o'clock kickoff here at Tannadice, Dundee United against Celtic, but it was very bright and breezy earlier on. It certainly clouded over and got a little bit chillier too, but I guess the stands will be, or the gates will be open, the stands will be slowly beginning to fill here in about 40 minutes time or so, and the action up and running at 4 o'clock. So Dundee United against Celtic to come. We'll have the highlights on Sports Scene tonight, the BBC Scotland channel at 7:15. If you're a follower of the SWPL, the women's game, of course, Hearts against Celtic is the BBC live stream at the website, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. You can also watch big game, Rangers against Glasgow City on BBC Alapa from just after 4, and the women's highlights on Monday night, 7 o'clock on the BBC Scotland channel. Make sure you're tuned in to us on Sports Sound in the midweek ahead. Tuesday and Wednesday night programmes. Tuesday, there's Ross County against Hibernian in the Premiership. A couple of cup ties, the postponed matches, Cove Rangers Ayr, Calais Thistle against Queen's Park. And then on Wednesday, the 5 remaining Premiership matches will take place for a night. That could be the big one that we touched on earlier. Hearts against Rangers, there's Celtic against Livingston, Aberdeen against St Mirren, Kilmarnock Dundee United, and Motherwell against St Johnstone. So Sports Sound midweek, and of course always coverage at the website bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Like we heard from Robbie Nielsen beforehand, Michael, and he talked about having to play a certain way to try to make sure that they got the result they desired at Livingston. It doesn't sound like that's worked. It doesn't sound like anything much has worked in the first 45 minutes. And not just for Hearts, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's not overly surprising that the game starts the way that it did, but you're expecting and you need somebody with a bit of quality to just start to come into the game, and it didn't. And it's not, you know, it's not a huge surprise when you see the game unfolding like that, because when it starts at such a frenetic pace and both sides are looking to stretch the opponent to try to gain a bit of space in the middle of the park, and the first few times it goes in there, you've got players that haven't, you know, played loads, not high in confidence, on a surface and in conditions that are not naturally conducive to playing nice football, that the game breaks down, and then they just resort to, well, we'll just keep trying to look at to turn the game. But it's imperative that if you've got any aspirations of gaining a foothold in terms of quality possession, that you start to do it, that you start to show for the ball, you get it, you take a touch and you pass it, you keep the tempo in the game, and Hearts haven't been able to do that so far. And I'm pretty sure that is a message that will be getting put across at half-time, that they have to continue to show for the ball. They've got to be brave, they've got to get the ball, and they've got to pass it. And not just in terms of the player on the ball, those that are out of possession have got to show for it. They've got to give options to the player on the ball, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to take the ball in areas where the are getting closed in quickly. The wind's blowing, the surface is not allowing you to get under control as quickly as you'd want. And you've got to try, you've got to do it. Otherwise, it's 90 minutes of a scrap. And when it's a scrap like that, the game becomes a 50-50.
Is there a mindset issue as well? You've touched on it a few times during the commentary, where Hearts players in particular might have been in an opportunity where they could have spread the ball, they could have played a bit of football, but actually what they've done is just turned and played that ball over the top, as had been maybe drummed into them as a potential tactic for this particular match.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes tunnel vision, but it's not. I mean, that's where individual players and the quality they've got to make those decisions for themselves. I'd be pretty positive the manager is not telling them you cannot pass the ball. They're just telling them that, look, early on in particular, let's look to turn the opposition, which is no bad tactic, by the way, in any game, to create a bit of space in the middle of the park. But then they've got to, Livingston don't allow you to settle, but good players, even when they are getting put under real pressure, make good decisions. And so far in this game, Hearts haven't made enough good decisions in possession. They've allowed the game, as I've just said, to become very one-dimensional, and it's almost like it's become tunnel vision. And the problem is exacerbated by the fact that it becomes a little bit easy for players to not look for the ball, because they're not making a mistake then. But that's how the game disintegrates in terms of as a passing game.
We talked a lot about Livingston and the fact that they can, Richard, play in different styles. It's not just about the battling. They've got footballers in there. But as things stand and the way the game has gone, will this suit them better at this stage?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Livy are, while Hearts can do it, I think Livingston are better at making it a battle and getting up on second balls. And the kind of couple of half chances Livingston have got down the sides comes from their Nicky Devlin, their defensive players, just helping the ball into good areas. And by that I mean areas that are difficult for Hearts to defend. Balls just dropped in behind the defenders or run back towards their own goals. It's much easier for Livingston, or it was in that half, because the wind was holding up. But any time Hearts tried to do it, they were firing it out of play. But still, within that, Michael's right, there still has to be, you can play the ball forward, you can play a long pass, it can still be a quality pass. Just because doesn't mean it's a poor pass because it's a long one. But what we're seeing here is, balls kind of bouncing about, no one willing to take a touch, and they're just hoofing it. And when Hearts do it, it runs all the way through either for a goal kick or to the goalkeeper. Now, when Livingston do it, I would suggest they're doing it slightly better, because they're just trying to drop it in behind the Hearts defence. Now, whether they can still do that in the second half when they've got the wind with them remains to be seen. But at the moment, I think the game suits Livingston a bit better, because they pick up more second balls. Their striker Bruce Anderson is lively. He never really allows himself to get picked up. He drops in between the defenders. He does a good job at running the line. He gets Livingston up the pitch because he's willing to run in behind all the time. So at the moment, the game is not good to watch. There's more football being played from the kids that are now on the pitch at half time. One of them, they nearly scored a great goal there. There was 5 one-touch passes and the goalkeeper had to make a save. But I wish the two senior teams would start doing that in the second half, because it's not been a great game to watch. The conditions are not good, but the conditions are not as the game has been in terms of quality, because no one's really taking it upon themselves, taking responsibility to get on the ball for either side and actually play a few passes. We've seen Sean Kelly do it a couple of times, but not enough in the game. Sean, for one, the Livingston team's got a lot of quality, especially on his left side, but we haven't really seen any of that just now. I think it's two teams giving each other a lot of respect. Two teams know that if they make any mistakes, the other one's likely to pounce on it. So I think there's a bit of, they're both a bit tentative at the moment, and neither side have played to the levels that we've seen them play to this season.
I don't imagine you'll be the last one this season to call Yutaro Oda Yoda as we move on. It's going to be a slip of the tongue that comes back. What have you made of him? Is this not a day for him and the type of player he is?
Well, he's a professional football player. He's got it doesn't matter what the day is. You've got to produce. You can't just say, right, I'm going to go and sign for Hearts, but by the way, if it's windy, I don't really want to play.
Yeah,
but
okay.
He struggled with he's ironically, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
But he hasn't they've not got any quality into him. The couple of times the balls came into him, he could do better, but it's not as if it's a great ball. It's still a ball fired in at his shins, and you're saying, oh yeah, he could do better, but there's no been real quality played into him. We've not really seen him get on the ball and do anything with it. He looks to run in behind as well. He looks fairly mobile, but it's a tough debut for him to come in, or starting debut for to come in. The things he could have done better, but he hasn't really been given, and neither has Humphreys been given any real service.
Well, it is going to be very interesting to see if Robbie Neilson does make changes. We talked a lot about the strength on the bench. They would be seen as favourites, of course. The team who have been in even better form than Livy have, and in a stronger position in the league. A lot of strength on that bench. The change they made, Michael, was Grant for Devlin. As far as you're concerned, George Grant alongside Keogh now in the midfield.
That's a big concern.
Yeah,
it's a big concern for me. But what it shows me and tells me is that Wednesday is firmly in the sights, and no manager is ever going to turn and tell you that we're not 100% focused on the game at hand right now. But for me, looking at Wednesday, they're thinking, don't want to risk an injury to Snodgrass or Mackay, in particular, two guys that are playing in that central area, or have been for Hearts, but they're running. Look, Hearts haven't been. It's not as if you look at this game and say, oh, they've been absolutely horrendous, and Livingston have been wonderful, and they've been knocking on the door. It's another one of those games where defensively Hearts have looked sound. They've looked fine, but quality-wise it's been very poor. And I don't see, with Grant and Keogh in the middle of the park, how they're going to improve the quality in the second half, because they're two players that are low in confidence, not a lot of game time, and are not. It's not a game that is easy for them to step in and go, look, give me the ball, I'm going to make this this game tick for us. And I don't see how that's going to improve in the second half. So it suggests to me that Hearts are just going to look to try to battle this out in the second half. Perhaps as the game wears on in the second period, they will look to bring on the likes of Snodgrass or Mackay, which should help them. But the longer the game goes on, very much in the same vein as the Easter Road, the game is then taken shape, it's taken its form, and it becomes more difficult to try to alter it in that respect.
So what Hearts have to do, and they, from what you've been saying, Rich, they've got the advantage in terms of the wind. It should be less of a negative factor in this second half. They'll have to look to try to use that too.
Well, Richard's just back here. He was just down the stairs for a second there. But
he's an old man these days, and it's a long time for him to sit in the cold.
Oh, yeah, very cold.
I need to catch my breath after running up the stairs.
But I'm sure Michael will step in nicely if Richard didn't actually hear that question.
Yeah, well, I mean, in respects of the wind in the second half, it will be interesting to see what happens, and whether it becomes a case of both teams look to play the same way they were in the second half, but because of the conditions it becomes a little bit more fruitful for Hearts, and vice versa for Livingston. It's impossible to say. Look, second half the wind might start swirling. Yeah. It could move and go in the opposite direction, but I just don't think you can play the game purely on the basis of, all right, we've got a bit of wind in the second half, we'll just look to continue to do the same as what we're doing there. Yeah. Hearts have got to bring more quality, and Livingston, as much as I think as Richard was saying, it suits them a little bit better, they've got to be more clinical in the final third, because Hearts were defensively, they looked fairly comfortable.
Well, the wind may well be a factor here at Tannadice as well. Looking across to the corner there, you can see the club flag very significantly moving in the breeze that is flitting around outside the stadium there. Corner flags also just a bit of movement there as well. It's duller than it was. It's certainly cold. The pitch is showing signs of wear and tear, as so many of the pitches are right now. It's going to be a 4 o'clock kickoff. We'll build up to that one and bring you full live commentary as Dundee United and Celtic prepare to go head to head. United, of course, in that log jam at the bottom. Celtic looking to re-establish their sizable advantage at the top of the Premiership table. So that to come. It's 0-0 at half-time. And West Lothian thought, let's get back for live second half commentary here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with Richard Foster, Michael Stewart and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Hearts have made another change at the interval, and it's another of their new boys, Garang Kwal, who has come on at the interval. I didn't see the number that
for why Oda.
It's Oda going off.
Right, okay. Yeah, he didn't have a great impact, did he? It has to be said. So Quall gets his opportunity to try and make an impact himself. And there's certainly a lot of people very excited about Grant Quall in the world of football. Certainly Newcastle have invested a fair bit of money in bringing him across to the UK, and our Hearts, I know, were delighted that he chose to come to Tynecastle to continue his development on loan for the remainder of this season. So we'll see how he copes with the conditions in the second half.
Tell you what, there was an opportunity there for Humphreys just to help that one on. I know Michael's wanting him to take a touch, but Quall's actually making a really, really good run, and with the wind that's coming into him on the volley, and he could just help it round the corner. But you know, he does well and takes a touch, but then the Hearts end up kicking the ball out of pitch.
It's back with Xander Clark. I was wondering, you know, when the teams changed ends prior to kick-off, and I wasn't sure who had won the toss and who wanted the wind or to be against the wind first half, but it's certainly at Livingston's backs for the second period. It didn't certainly really work for Hearts having it behind them in the first period because they were over-hitting passes left, right and centre. Livingston will hope to adapt to it a bit better, and Hearts will look to, in some ways, take advantage of the fact that it's against them and be able to perhaps drop passes in as Quall catches Penrice late. A tackle or a challenge very similar to the one for which Nat Atkinson was booked, and the same player.
Well, Alan Muir doesn't really know what he's looking to do here. He was clearly looking to his linesman to try to get a steer on it.
Who's right in front of the incident.
Yeah, but
right in front of us. I'm not sure there's much contact.
No, well, look, there was more force than the Atkinson one, but both of them, I just think there wasn't like a leg up. They just sort of ran into the opponent. I can understand why the Livy fans are calling for it, but I think it's, you know, in modern day football, these things are yellow cards all the time, but I don't think there's a great deal, you know, wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, these challenges, just to try and describe them to the listeners, are it's the fullback just trying to clear a kind of bouncing ball, and the attackers in there trying to block the clearance. There's no malice in it.
But I don't think either of the challenges were where the attacking player had a foot that was dangling to try and block it. It's just like they've run into it, which, if there's a foot up, you can sort of understand, because it could be a little bit sore and dangerous. When you're just running, I don't think you should be getting punished for that.
There's Anderson trying to go for goal, but he's blocked off by Keane Marsoglu, who immediately sets Humphreys off and running. Quall's in here. Quall, can he score here for Hearts? Straight to the keeper on the rebound. Keeper saves again. Terrific goalkeeping from Joel George, but Karan Quall just off the bench should really have been burying one of those opportunities. Livy nil, Hearts nil.
Oh, fantastic break from Hearts, great pace. Humphreys, I tell you what, he got it wrong in the first half, but what a pass he plays through there. Perfectly weighted pass right into Quall's stride, and he has two bites at it, and to be fair to the goalkeeper, I think the ball's straight at him, but the first one's a good save, the second one's a fantastic reaction save, but he's got to score. You know, he didn't look comfortable there. He kind of almost got stuck in his feet a little bit, and he toe poked it towards the goalkeeper, I think, in the end. But fantastic double save from the goalie, but good start from Hearts.
Yeah, it is. Here they come again. Atkinson eventually thwarted by Penrice, but it has been a bright...
What it shows is that the wind is playing the same way as the first. That held up perfectly for Humphreys as he ran through, and as Richard mentioned there, wonderful reverse ball into Grant Quall's path, and he definitely missed his first touch. He got caught under his feet slightly. I thought he actually did quite well to get his strike away, but it was clearly straight at the goalkeeper. And big moment for Hearts. And a big moment for Grant Quall. If he'd been able to find the back of the net, that would have been a wonderful start to his Hearts career. But it's a bright start from Hearts, and it just creates the feeling that it's a better second half to come. They need to maintain that momentum moving forward.
There's Atkinson, right hand side of the penalty area as Hearts tried to come forward again. Penrice sticking close to him. Atkinson still has it, gets it back to Shankland, right hand side, sliding challenge from Stephen Kelly. Shankland manages to keep possession, keeps it in, curls it in towards the 6-yard box, and then Quall in on the keeper there. No. And Shamal George takes it. It will be a free kick to Hearts. George reacted pretty angrily, but then I think he accepts that Quall was simply going for the ball, and it will be a free kick, but nothing more.
Alan Muir calls that one right as well. Free kick, play on, nothing more to get excited about. You know, the ball was a great ball in from Shanklin in a dangerous area between the striker and the goalkeeper.
He's got to attack it.
The goalkeeper does well, comes and gets it, and doesn't lose it either under the pressure of the striker. Referee gives a foul. Aye, sorted, move on.
I guess Shamal George is a man mountain as well, you know.
Here goes Quall again inside the penalty area, racing into the box, but it's at far too tight an angle. He couldn't get a meaningful shot in, but it is into the arms of George. Hearts certainly looking much brighter at the opening of this second half. We clearly had a word or two, maybe a la Davy Martindale from the coaching staff. It wouldn't have been Robbie Nielsen at half time because he's not allowed in the dressing room at half time because of his ban. I'm sure there's one or two of his coaching staff more than capable of delivering the message. As George gets the ball back from Boys and then fires up towards the halfway line. Quall, who's been heavily involved so far since coming on, a golden opportunity to score, denied by George. Here come Livy as Bradley tries to squeeze it through down the right hand side.
Well, I take Shanklin took that brilliantly, by the way.
Livingston just having to defend just at the moment as Hearts try to come forward, and the free kick eventually goes the way of the home side midway inside their own half. It's been a fairly frenetic start to this second period, much better than anything we saw in the first, and it's still goalless though, although Hearts will feel perhaps they should have been ahead with the chances for Garang Quall, one straight after the other on the rebound, and Shamal George equal to both of them. 7 minutes almost played in this second period as Fitzwater gets out to the right hand side to Devlin forward looking for the run of Anderson. Rose is there. Anderson does well initially, but eventually breaks to Grant, the first half substitute. Shanklin helps it on down the left hand side for Humphreys. Up against Sean Kelly, into the box he comes, plays across goal. Quall couldn't get on the end of it as Boys makes the clearance. It will be a Hearts corner. Boys is looking for an offside in the build up there, but it will be a corner to Hearts.
I mean, look, a couple of things. Obviously the wind has played a factor, but also game's just a little bit more stretched. There's a wee bit more space in the middle of the park, and making that first pass, you know, you've not seen Hearts ball bouncing, hook it on. It's just not been happening in the second half for a couple of those reasons.
Corner kick left hand side into the near post, flicked on by Kia Mortsoglu, but flicked behind in the end by the midfielder, and then there's a head knock there. I think it's Stephen Kingsley, which is not good news for someone who's had concussion problems. I think it's a face.
I think it's maybe
the face.
I think it's maybe just taking a knock to his nose, which is obviously in a cold afternoon like this far from pleasant, rather than a head knock.
He's getting treatment just now in any case, but much improved from Hearts at the outset of this second period.
Well, they've been able to get Humphreys and Garang Quall, who's got pace as well, been able to get the two of them into the game. Combination of a bit of better quality, but also the ball being able to hang up and it's not running away from them. They've been able to get onto the end of it and be able to take a touch and try to build the attack from there. The Hearts management will be a lot happier with the second half so far.
Kingsley still being treated, and Hearts will hope not to be forced into another change. We've already had to replace Cam Devlin because of an injury in the first period, and they don't want to lose Kingsley again because he's only played, this is his 19th appearance this season. He's been out a few times. He had a hamstring injury which has bothered him for much of the season. It's kept him out for a couple of spells. I think he's going to be
this is different. I mean, this is clearly just a facial knock rather than a head injury where he's concerned about concussion. It's not that at all, and he's coming back on, which is very important for Hearts.
Ball's pumped forwards towards the edge of the Hearts penalty area. It's dealt with by Cochrane initially. Anderson latches onto it, but Hearts pick up once more. Shanklin, who's He's been playing a fair bit deeper for much of this game. And it's cleared long by Hearts out on the far side for a Livingston throw, and almost 10 minutes played in the second period. Still no goals, but a better spectacle, and certainly Hearts having the better of it at the start of this second period. Livy have possession though, and it's Devlin. Plays it forward, away by Rowles, on by Grant, and then Shanklin knocks it back to Cochrane, left-hand side. Plays it looking for the run of Quall down that left channel. He is fast, but he's fouled the Livingston player, Jack Fitzwater, much to the anger of the visiting fans who don't believe the referee should have given that decision.
Well, they're not happy with it, but irrespective of whether the foul's given or not, Grant Quall's certainly causing a bit of concern for Livingston, because as that ball gets played up, you're thinking to yourself, Fitzwater is the favourite by a mile, but Quall was right on top of him there, making it in the end a 50-50. To be fair to George Grant, since he's come on here, in the second half in particular, he's actually looked all right. You know, he's one that's made a pass or two, and he's looking a little bit lively, or certainly livelier than what was going on in the first.
Ball back with Shamal George. Gets a lot more length on his clearance than he was in the first half, which gives you an idea of the strength of the wind here. And it's out for a throw in to Livingston, down near the corner flag on the right hand side now, and Nicky Devlin will have the opportunity to fling this one into the penalty area again. Livingston looking to get on the end of it. First and second balls so important. Omiyonga goes and offers himself short, and that's who gets it. He's got time to measure across here. What can he provide? Into the 6-yard box, it comes header. Oh, he's not really got hold of it, and Xander Clark was rather caught in no man's land there. Unfortunately for him, the header wasn't connected with, and a good chance there for Livingston.
I think he just misses the ball.
Yeah.
I think Xander got caught out with the wind. He thinks he's going to fly further, and it just holds up, and I don't know who it was, I can't see from here, but he just misses his header. He's got a free header at goal.
As soon as the ball got played, it looked as if Xander Clark was in the wrong position. He wasn't going to get there, but yeah, it's impossible to say how much the wind's affecting that, but you're thinking, especially the way Xander Clark's been playing, and he's normally pretty confident at coming for balls like that, but misjudged that, I'm guessing, and thinking that the wind must have played a part in it.
Yeah, I thought it was Sean Kelly who was closest to it, who should have got his head to it but failed to do so. Again, the wind would have been an element of that, no doubt, but it did look like an opportunity. The cross from Omiyonga into the near post.
Well, there was a chance because Xander Clark was behind the ball.
Yeah.
So the whole front half of the goal was, if it was Kelly that was there, if he gets anything on it, he's knocking it into an empty net effectively.
Shanklin looked to be hauled to the ground there, and indeed Alan Muir, the referee, agrees, and it will be a Hearts free kick midway inside their own half. Livingston responding well to initial Hearts pressure at the start of this second half. And Hearts will have the free kick midway inside their own half. 30 minutes gone in the second period. Still no goals, but a brighter spell of play as we approach the hour mark, and Livingston perhaps thinking about some changes of their own. Xander Clark will take the free kick well out of his goal over on the left hand side. Plays it long, looking for Humphreys. Beaten in the jump though by Boys, helped on by Stephen Kelly. Sibbick's first to it, plays it forward. Boys again wins the header, nodded down by Kia Morsoglu in the middle of the park, does well to keep possession, knocks it back to Kingsley, just having to go back into his own half, and plays a short ball into Grant, who's quickly closed down but also fouled by Scott Pittman on the halfway line. Free kick to Hearts, which will have to be taken again because it was taken from the wrong place. And Grant leaves it to Rowles, and then decides he will take it after all. Plays it out to this near side to Atkinson. Atkinson brings it under control, moves infield from the right hand side.
That was poor. His first touch was poor. His first touch instantly closed the game and took him infield into bodies. His second touch pushed him back the field, and his third touch went into a tackle. As that ball came out to him, he needs to open his body up, get down the line. He's got a 1v1, put the ball into the box.
Civic to take the throw in, short to Grant, gets it back to Civic. Down the right hand side he goes, looking to get it back from Atkinson. He's done well there to keep the ball. Civic into the penalty he goes, and not behind by Morgan Boys for a corner kick to Hearts, and the away fans behind Shamal George's goal give their side a round of applause, and hopefully from their point of view create something here to trouble the Livingston back line. It's going to be Cochrane to take it from the right hand side, left footed. The in-swinger into the 6-yard box, but that's a really good, confident take from the goalkeeper under no real pressure, but he stretches his massive frame and clutches that one out of the air. And it remains goalless after an hour.
It's a poor corner. He just tried to guide it in, but he just guided it straight into the big goalie's hands. Not really what Hearts are wanting, but they're kind of piling on the pressure a little bit. You want to keep that up, keep the intensity up, and you don't get it from a poor corner like that.
Grant over the top, looking for the pace of Cole off his line, and out of his box comes Shamal George to clear before Cole could get onto the end of it. Good alert goalkeeping there. Grant picks up once more in the middle of the park, clips it out to the left hand side. Good spot and good ball to Lawrence Shanklin. Squeezes it in for Humphreys. Humphreys inside the penalty, gets the shot off, but it's straight at Shamal George. Takes it low, and Humphreys did well to manufacture the space to get the shot away, but it was on target.
Now they'll be able to show a little bit of quality, especially in the final third there, and again give a bit of credit to George Grant when it's due. He has made a difference, looking to make that pass.
Here's Stephen Bradley at the other end, lobs it, goal one, brilliant clearance by Cochrane, and Anderson can't get on the loose ball. Well, what a clearance that was. Or was it Kingsley who went back on the goal line? It was
Kai Rolls that clears it. And I tell you, huge clearance for Rolls. Xander Clark posted missing again with that. You know, he did not need to be coming out there.
It was just a hopeful ball over the top, and Xander Clark was caught and had to be thankful for his defender back in the line to hook it away, because it was goal bound from Bradley. And Livingston,
you do Sean Kelly a disservice there. It was a great pass over the top, perfectly weighted with the wind. Xander misjudges it completely, and he's lucky that his defender, as we spoke about in the first half, Mikey, Kai Rolls, he senses danger. He gets himself in a position where he can clear the ball. Great defending, and he saves the blushes from his goalkeeper.
I have to pay more attention.
That does help.
That's Kingsley clearing this time. But yeah, certainly chances at either end in this second half, as Livingston prepare to make a switch, and it's going to be Guthrie to come on as Livingston prepare to take the throw in over on the far side. The change will be made after that. Devlin looking for options down the right hand side. Kingsley was fouled though, and will be a free kick to Hearts over on the far side.
He'll be happy to get this 90 minutes under his belt and get home. It's one of those games where he's never been able to settle. He's never been able to get a comfortable touch on it. Everything's been a tackle or a battle, or it's well, it'll be ideal for him coming into Wednesday night, which will be a huge game for him as well.
Sean Kelly is the player who's going to be replaced by Curtis Guthrie for a closing 27 minutes or thereabouts. It's a pretty attacking change from David Martindale as he looks to try and get the goal that might well decide this game. And Xander Clark takes the free kick from outside his area, flicked on by Humphreys. Boys leaves it to Fitzwater, nodded down again though by Humphreys for Atkinson. Atkinson back to Grant, right hand side. Guthrie comes back, but Grant gets it back to Atkinson, curls the ball in, but it's far too close to Shamal George. 90 minutes of the second half gone. Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it's a poor cross. It's decent enough play. Good by George Grant again, and then it's a poor cross. I think he could actually pass the ball into Keogh's feet, but he tries to whip the ball in and never catches it right.
Atkinson finds Humphreys outside the area, goes for goal. Shamal George with a good save to tip it round the post. Good effort from Humphreys from 25 yards, and George goes down to his right hand side to tip it round for a corner.
That That was a very, very good save from Shamal George, because I thought as soon as Humphreys had struck it, I thought it was going to be good enough to find the corner of the net. But again, it's another moment of Hearts building momentum, building pressure. Just a good little pass in field from Atkinson to find Humphreys.
Grant's corner, left-hand side into the near post, headed away by Omiyonga, who goes and chases his own clearance, but Grant picks up left-hand side, slips it to Kingsley, left-hand side of the penalty area, into the box it comes. Shanklin trying to bring it under control, couldn't do so. Faint claims, I think, for a handball in there, but nothing doing, and it's collected by Shamal George. The first 20 minutes of this second half have been infinitely better than the first 45. Chances and incidents at both ends, but still goalless.
I think there's been better quality in the final areas. You're more so from Hearts, but you see there with the Sean Kelly pass over the top, get good quality into your forward players, and they can go and cause problems for the opposing defence. And Hearts are definitely the better side, but Livy have got that threat on the counter-attack.
Ball switched out towards Atkinson, but it won't get there. Penrice is there first as Grant picks up, tries to knock it back to his goalkeeper, just about gets there before Bruce Anderson does. And it's cleared by Xander Clark and nodded back to Shamal George by Morgan Boyce, who was looking for a shout, didn't get one, and does get it back to safety though. George clears from inside his penalty area. Anderson making life difficult for Civic, so too Guthrie. Guthrie battling away there, but he's been penalised just outside the Hearts box for the challenge on Civic. And it's still anyone's game, that's for sure. And David Martindale trying to get a message of some nature on in vociferous terms. Almost at the halfway point in this second period. Still no goals. Dundee United Celtic to come. Plenty of goals the last time Celtic were at Tannadice. 9 of them for the visitors. Here's Anderson for Livingston. Out to the right-hand side. He's got an option if he can squeeze it through. Bradley was there, but Anderson just couldn't get the pass off. Cochrane runs into trouble though, and Livingston have it back. And Devlin does get it out to Bradley on the right-hand side. Good footwork initially by Bradley, goes down. And Hearts come away with possession. Shanklin left-hand side. Good challenge though by Omiyonga to dispossess him. Livingston come forward. It's Pittman. Squeezes it through for Anderson, edge of the penalty area. Forward comes Penrice, galloping into the penalty area. Gets the cross in, but it's headed away by Rills. It's far more end-to-end in this second period, as well as the quality has risen, and so too is the attacking intent.
I think Penrice just makes his run a bit too narrow there. The way he makes the run, the pass has to be perfect to get into his path. If he gives himself more margin for error, he can run on into the ball and he'll be beyond the defence. But he does well enough to dig out across. But I just think by his run, if he arcs the run a little bit more, he gives himself more margin for error.
Penrice with the throw-in, gets it back from Stephen Kelly. Kelly now, little reverse pass, he's looking for Pittman, he asks an awful lot of him, too much in the end. Pittman can't catch it, and it will be a goal kick, and the fourth officials having to come and have a word with the Livingston dugout as Xander Clark prepares to take the goal kick. We are just beyond the three-quarter point in the game. Livingston 0, Hearts 0. Much better tempo to this second period after a fairly mundane first half, it has to be said. There's been chances at both ends and plenty of work for the goalkeepers to do in the second period as Livingston come forward, as Curtis Guthrie tries to latch onto the forward ball, keeps it in on the left-hand side, tracked by Civic, shows too much of it to Civic, who's just able to see it over the goal line. Good defending by Civic under pressure from Guthrie. It will be a goal kick. Livy 0, Hearts 0.
That was very good defending. He didn't dive in, bided his time, and then when he did put his body across, he showed really good strength just to usher it out for the by kick.
Both sides will still believe they can win this one. As Clark takes the goal kick. Over the halfway line it comes. Boys wins the header above Humphreys, picked up by Guthrie, the substitute. Breaks though for Shanklin, who just clips it forward, looking for Quall to use his pace. Fitzwater hits it off. And then he goes down under the challenge from Nicky Devlin, and the Hearts fans want a penalty as it breaks into the arms of Shamal George. Alan Muir just backpedals away, not interested.
Well, one thing I would say is that Grant Cole doesn't claim for it. which makes me think that Devlin must have got a touch on the ball. But again, it shows you the pace of the Australian in behind is really panicking this Livingston defence. Even when most times when it's played over the top, he looks second best. Somehow he's been able to get on the end of it.
Livy have it, but it's certainly something that will be checked by VAR as Guthrie tries to control the pass.
I would suggest it's been looked at, Alan. The game's been played on.
Well, it's only now just gone out of play. So
it's been played on.
Guthrie has it left-hand side. Pittman out to the left. Now it's Penrice. It's a good-looking ball, and Rowles again in the 6-yard box gets the clearance away. Shanklin helps it on, breaks for Bradley, edge of the penalty, trying to find room for the shot. Who comes out to the left-hand side, sends it back in, but it's a poor delivery from Bradley. Can't find a teammate, out for a goal kick. Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, fantastic ball in there from Penrice. And I just thought Guthrie was just kind of waiting on it as opposed to going and attack the ball. He looks like he's holding his hands on his hips. He's breathing a bit. To be fair to him, he's came on and the game has just came alive, and it's end to end, and it's he's probably struggling to find the second wind at the moment. But better from Livingston. They fought their way back into the game, but Hearts still look so dangerous with Keogh going through there. And you're right, I think Devlin must win the ball because there's no appeal from the Hearts player for the penalty. And from here, it looked like it was a Stonewaller.
Hearts goal kick. Civic just trying to see the ball out of play on this near side for a Hearts throw-in. Seems like Josh Ginnelly's going to come on for Hearts in the near future. And Civic prepares to take the throw-in. Down the line it comes. Humphreys loses out to Boys, who then plays it off the Hearts forward. And it will be a Livingston throw-in on this near side. Livy left, more or less on the halfway line, just a couple of yards into the Hearts half. And Penrice leaves it for Boys to take. Down the left it goes. Civic rises above Guthrie, breaks the way of Anderson. Angle of the box, a good pass for Penrice. Penrice, can he pick out a teammate? He can't. It's Kiamortsoglu in the way instead. Penrice picks up possession once more, left-hand side, almost at the goal line, tries to go beyond. Civic then hits the deck, looking for the free kick, but again, nothing in it. Hearts come on the counter. It's Humphreys over the halfway line. Omiyonga trying to get back. Humphreys has Quall in support. That's who he finds just outside the penalty area. Quall now into the box, and a good challenge by Nicky Devlin to knock it out for a throw-in on this near side to Hearts. And still the opening goal won't come.
A good break there again, but I think Keogh's run, he makes it so narrow to where Humphreys is. It's going to need to be an inch perfect pass. I think if he stays wider, more margin for error, easier to get the ball through. Having said that, Humphreys does well to hold on to the ball and find him eventually, but then a great recovering tackle from Nicky Devlin.
Atkinson with the throw in just a couple of yards away from the corner flag on the Hearts right. Into the chest of Shanklin inside the penalty area. Back heel for Grant, who goes down just on the edge of the box.
Yeah,
he's going to book him. He's going to book George Grant, Alan Muir, and a rueful shake of the head from George Grant, but no real protest. Right call, Richard?
Yeah, 100%. Good tackle from Devlin. Clears the ball away and he just throws himself to the ground.
I tell you, it's good play from the referee, because it looked to me like it could have been quite easily one of those instances where Nicky Devlin clearly gets a touch of the ball, but George Grant goes down under a challenge as well. But Alan Muir's right on the spot to recognise that Nicky Devlin didn't touch George Grant at all, and as you said there, you can tell from the reaction of Grant that it was the right call. He went down under no challenge.
Ginnelly is coming on for Nat Atkinson, who, if you're looking for players to step up to the plate, Michael and Erna, or at least make decisions more difficult for Robbie Nielsen in terms of his starting 11. Has Nat Atkinson done it this afternoon?
He's been better in the second half.
He has, but he looks timid, and he's clearly not comfortable at the moment in a Hearts jersey. and I'm not surprised that that sub, when we heard that Ginnelly was coming on, I was looking and thinking to myself, I'd be surprised if he takes Humphreys off, because he's looking dangerous at the moment. And I did think to myself, it'll be a bold move to stick Ginnelly at right wing back, because he's clearly a lot more of an attacking player than Nathaniel Atkinson is. So it shows you that the intent is here for Hearts to go and get 3 points rather than settling for the draw.
Just over a quarter of an hour to play in Livingston, still goalless, but both sides are threatened in this second period, but neither has been able to make the breakthrough. Livingston have a throw-in over on the far side. Josh Ginnelly has been operating very effectively as more or less as a forward player through the middle of late, and we did say recently he still feels more like a winger, but as you say, Michael, it's a wing back role, which comes with defensive duties, of course, as Livingston look for a free kick through Curtis Guthrie over on the far side. The assistant was right next to the incident, and he didn't see anything wrong with it. It's going to be a goal kick to Hearts.
Yeah, it's not a foul, and the guy, Guthrie's huge. I'd love to be that size. Just you throw your body into the defender and hold him off, but he just feels the slightest touch and he tumbles over. He must be 16 stone. That's not going to knock you over. Just stand your ground, hold the defender off and hold the ball in. Keep your team up the pitch. Now they're back to the halfway line.
Zander Clark's goal kick. Up to the halfway line it comes. Omiyonga forward. Josh Ginnelly heads it down, but only to Penrice. Penrice left-hand side for Livy, just inside the Hearts half. Gets it back from Omiyonga. Closed down by Grant, who has been booked, and then fouls Penrice. And we'll just have to be careful. There's certainly no suggestion that would have been a second yellow, but you don't want to be giving Alan Muir too many chances to show the second yellow. Penrice to take the free kick, just a couple of yards inside the Hearts half, takes it short to Omiyonga. Hearts are dropped deep, and Omiyonga's able to advance, but it goes back the way then to Devlin. Devlin's going to have to go all the way back to Shamal George, and the home fans don't like that, because that was a good position to be in, but they didn't make the most of it, as Ginnelly picks up possession under pressure from Bruce Anderson. The clearance from Shamal George goes back to Zander Clark. Clark's clearance isn't the best. Pittman trying to pick it up, but Hearts get the break of the ball, and it's Ginnelly right hand side deep in his own half. Grant back to Ginnelly. Ginnelly tries to come forward, but he runs the ball out of play, and Livingston have taken the throw in quickly left hand side.
He doesn't look comfortable there yet, Ginnelly, does he? He doesn't seem to know where he's meant to be. He sits too far back, and then he's too high up.
Penrice into the penalty, a good header away. Again, it's Kai Rowles doing the defensive work. He's been immense at the heart of the defence this afternoon. As Boys steps forward on his left foot up to the edge of the box, goes for goal, good save, Zander Clark. Excellent effort from Morgan Boys. It breaks back to him, and he plays it for Stephen Kelly. Kelly now looking to find a ball into the box, and Cochrane just sees it behind, but terrific effort from Morgan Boys coming forward from the back. Got a shot on target and forced Clark into a decent save.
Yeah, it's a fantastic play too. Throws a dummy twice, gets himself in a good area. It's going to need to be a hell of a strike from the angle he's at to beat Zander Clark from there, but a good powerful strike, and Zander does well to beat it away, but good play from the youngster.
Goal kick Hearts then, with just about 12 minutes plus stoppage time to play here in West Lothian. As Zander Clark waves everyone forward before launching this goal kick up towards the halfway line. Won by Guthrie, and it will come for Ginnelly in that right back position at the moment. Just going to let that trundle over the touchline for a Hearts throw-in. Is there going to be a winner here this afternoon? It'll take a brave man to call which way it would go, as both sides have had opportunities in the second half. Civic preparing to take the throw-in, right hand side for Hearts. Omiyonga wins it, and Penrice helps it on. Shanklin battling away in there, but fouls Omiyonga. It'll be a Livy free kick as Omiyonga goes down holding his back, and the free kick just a few yards inside the Hearts half to be taken by Stephen Kelly, and Livingston throwing Fitzwater and Boys forward to try and get on the end of this free kick. 11 to play, still goalless. Stick with us for full live commentary of Dundee United Celtic to come. 4 o'clock kick-off. as Kelly stands over the free kick. Livingston with plenty bodies forward up and around the edge of the Hearts penalty area, but it's won yet again by guess who? Kai Rolls, and out for a throw and over on the far side, and Devlin will trot forward to presumably launch this one into the box. Again, Livingston have kept Fitzwater and Boys forward, as well as Guthrie, who offers an aerial presence now as well. Can Devlin pick one of them out with this long throw-in? Up he comes, right hand side, Devlin in towards the 6-yard box. Again it's Rowles, heads it down. Bradley gets it back out to Devlin, right hand side, first time ball, cut back. Guthrie with the overhead kick, but it's a comfortable take for Zander Clark. Acrobatic effort from the substitute, but never in any real danger there. Hearts, and it remains with 10 minutes to play. Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
Livingston are still knocking at the door as well. You know, it's a game that's very evenly balanced. And I think you said a minute or two ago, it's difficult to say definitively if either side, you know, who it would be that to be able to get themselves in front and get 3 points. Both sides will be looking at the last 10 minutes or so and thinking the game is there for the taking, but mindful of the opposition is capable of going up the other end and sticking the ball in the back of the net.
Stephen Kelly just ran the ball out of play under no real pressure there, and Hearts have a throw-in just inside the Livy half. Sibic plays it forward. Cole can't make much of it. Comes back to Sibic. Humphreys now with his back to goal, spins away from Omeong, and then he's taken to ground by the midfielder, and Hearts will have a free kick midway inside the Livy half, and this could be an opportunity as Cochrane comes across. It's right of centre, and he'll look to play this one in left-footed. George Grant there also.
It was a free kick, you know, understandable. Omeong is just going to press him, but the touch from Humphreys has turned Omeong up, and I just had to chuckle because as Humphreys is on the deck, he's pulling his socks up. Yep. Pulling his socks up to just over his ankles now.
Cochrane and Grant discussing how best to deliver this one as Livingston look to hold the line just outside the Hearts penalty area, their own penalty area. It's Cochrane, flights it towards the back post. There's a shove in the back there from Sibic, and it's all to...
It's a terrible ball in for a start. I mean, you're pinging that out to, what, you're 16 yards out of goal. I mean, no pace in the ball. He's probably not even going to be able to head it back across the goal from there. You've got, actually, there's two of them over the ball. They can go and play a quick 2v1. You've got Ginelli's wide in a decent position. It's just such a waste. They've got way more quality than that, Hearts.
No goals yet. Only Ross County with 9 have scored fewer home goals than Livy. They've just got into double figures. They've not added to those this afternoon, and that could be the difference between them taking a point and 3. As Bradley shows good footwork again on the right-hand side, but then misplaces his pass. Kingsley was in the way. Shanklin can't keep it. Loses out to Omeonga, right-hand side. Deep ball in, too deep, onto the roof of the net. And it's a waste in the end from Omeonga. It's a Hearts goal kick. 7.5 minutes left. Still no goals for all the second half efforts as Hearts prepare to make a final change, with Alan Forrest poised to come on against his former side. Rowles having to go back towards his own goal, but that will roll all the way through to Zander Clark anyway, and he immediately bowls it out to Kingsley. Kingsley coming forward up towards the halfway line, looking for options ahead of him, looking for movement. Eventually he plays it out to the left, gets it back from Cochrane, now forward for Humphreys, who's challenged strongly by Fitzwater and fairly in the view of the referee, who was close to it. Livingston have given it away though. Shanklin picks up left hand side, still midway inside the Livy half, and here's Kemort Soglu, leaves that for Grant. Grant left hand side out to Kingsley. Kingsley crossing opportunity, headed away by Devlin, only as far as Humphreys, just outside the penalty area, up against Stephen Kelly, plays it square for Quall, 25 yards from goal, tries to flight it to the back post, but it's a poor attempted cross from the young Australian. Behind for a goal kick. Livy 0, Hearts 0. Here comes that Hearts change, and it's going to be Stephen Humphreys to make way. He has had an impact in his second half, Michael, but a couple of decent efforts, but like his Hearts teammates, couldn't find a goal.
Yeah, but you know, when you're looking at the options on the bench, it's understandable that that was the other obvious attacking sub to make, to put Forrest at right wing back, get Ginnelly up to centre forward, where he's been effective the last month or so. But I think over the piece, Humphrey should be fairly happy with his performance, particularly in the second half. I think he's been dangerous without really cutting open the opposition or troubling the goalkeeper too often.
Livy about to introduce September's match winner, Christian Montagno, to the fray for the closing 5 minutes or so, and hope that he can repeat that particular performance. He scored a number of goals earlier in the season, Montagno, but not in the starting lineup this afternoon as Livy come forward. Kingsley though thumps it clear, and one for Ginnelly to try and latch on to. There's an offside flag up though against Ginnelly, who offers a hand of apologies. I think he just caught Fitzwater as well as he was challenging for the ball. Inside the last 5 minutes, Montagno's ready to come on. As Livingston prepared to take the free kick, and it's going to be Stephen Bradley to make way. So it looks like Montagno's going to play up the park. He's certainly played a lot at left back at the start of the season, but looks like he's going to have a more attacking role in the final few minutes here as Livingston prepare to take the free kick, and they've thrown Fitzwater and Boys forward once more as Devlin prepares to take the free kick from just inside his own half. Livingston looking for a late winner, which would take them to within 4 points of Hearts with a game in hand. Here is the free kick up towards the edge of the box. Guthrie wins it ahead of Rowles, and there's a kind of handball has been given in Hearts' favour just at the edge of the penalty area. It is certainly a free kick to the visitors as that Livingston attack comes to nothing. 3.5 left to play. We're going to get a winner here.
No.
It's a bold prediction, but probably accurate.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope someone scores a goal just so we can get to see one, but there's not been enough quality in the final third from both sides. I think Hearts started the second half really well and had the better of it, but apart from Kyo's chance, there's been nothing. I mean, he should have scored right enough and Hearts should be winning, but as of yet, no quality in front of goal.
Out for a throw-in over on the far side to Hearts, midway inside the Livy half, taken by Kingsley into Ginnelly, left-hand side. Ginnelly up against Kelly.
I think there'll be another opening before this game's out. Big question is somebody going to have the quality to finish it off?
Here's Ginnelly trying to create it, but it's blocked, and out for another Hearts throw-in inside the final 3 minutes. No goals.
I tell you what, Ginnelly's far livelier now. He's went up front than he was when he came on at right wing back.
Into the feet of Cochrane, left-hand side. Now Ginnelly, left-hand side, swings it in. Too close to Shamal George. Comfortable take for the keeper. And it's still Livy 0, Hearts 0. Shamal George eyeing up his options up the park. Hearts have only won 3 actually away from home in the league: St Johnstone, Ross County and Motherwell. It's given how impressive they've been for parts of the season. It's not a brilliant away record as Guthrie just fails to control the through ball, and it's out for a goal kick to Hearts inside the last couple of minutes. There will be a bit of stoppage time, no doubt, to be added on, and Xander Clark prepares to take the goal kick. Can either of these sides break the stalemate? Montagno just sees it out of play over on the far side. Livingston throw in just inside their own half. Montagno will just leave that for Devlin. And a lull descends over the stadium. I think the supporters have almost accepted there are not going to be any goals to cheer this afternoon unless Livingston can do something here down the right hand side.
That's good play from Grant. Yeah. Again, when you talk about people making an impact, they've not been in the team. He came off the bench and he's certainly done that.
Hearts throw in, down the left it goes. Ginnelly gives chase up against Devlin, almost at the goal line, down the corner flag. Ginnelly tries to go beyond Omiyonga and Devlin, but Devlin just gets the boot to that and thumps it away, but Sibic will go and keep it in. A last push, a late push at least, from Hearts out to Forrest. His first involvement in off the right hand side, tracked by Penrice. Back the way to Rowles. Rowles plays it square on the halfway line to Kingsley. Hearts get plenty bodies forward. Can Kingsley provide a quality ball forward? Instead he goes back the way to Rowles and then out to the left hand side for Cochrane. Cochrane in off the left. Can't get beyond Montano, but Hearts keep possession. Kingsley back to Kiyomotsoglu. He plays it into the penalty area. Quall beaten in the jump by Boys, and then Ginnelly with the volley, but the whistle had already gone for a foul on Boys by Quall. And as the 90 minutes come and go, and Livingston prepare to make a change here in the final few minutes of stoppage time that remains. Livingston 0, Hearts 0.
He certainly puts himself about, didn't he, Kyo? He's not afraid to go into a tackle, into a challenge. I think he does just catch Boys there. But what's interesting though, and it's happened a couple of times now, that Kingsley steps onto the ball, and we've seen him before when he's playing well and confident. He pings diagonal balls, he'll play balls in the channel, but he's had a few opportunities to do it and he looks a bit tentative. He's obviously wanting that simple pass, that safe pass, because he's had a tough afternoon. But you know, I think that little phase of play just summed it up. Decent enough ball in, good clearance, not enough quality in the attacking sense. Defence is on top, and even the shot Ginnelly has after the whistle goes, he fires it over the top.
We're into 4 minutes of stoppage time. Jason Holt has come on to replace Stephen Kelly for those 4 minutes. Former Hearts midfielder, one of their youth academy products. As Fitzwater clears up towards the halfway line, knocked out of play by Grant, and this near side. A few keepy-uppies by David Martindale. And it will be a throw in to Livy to be taken by Penrice. Livingston don't appear to be in any great hurry. Perhaps they'd be quite happy with the points that they look like getting. Down the left it goes, but there's a free kick being given to Hearts. 2.5 minutes of stoppage time to play. Hearts free kick midway inside their own half to be taken by Xander Clark. Livingston will look to see this game out and make sure that at least they emerge with a point, which should keep the gap at 7. Livingston playing a game fewer, but they're in such a good position. They're on course to qualify for Europe for just the second time. Finished third back in 2001-2002, and certainly if they could finish fourth and get into Europe this season, what an achievement that would be for David Martindale and his men.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I think if you look at the other teams, you know, Aberdeen's budget dwarfs them, Hibs' budget dwarfs them, probably on a par with much of the other teams. I think Ross County have actually got a relatively big budget as well, but yeah, for the resources he has, Martindale and Livingston have done a fantastic job thus far, and hopefully for them they can see it out.
Here's Guthrie, right hand side for Livy as they push for a potential winner. It's Holt on the edge of the penalty area, right hand side. Now Montano cutting in off the right hand side, but lashed away by Kiyomotsoglu for a throw in. It's Livingston doing the pressing in the closing minute or two as they look for a winner. And Devlin will hurl in another throw in from the right hand side as we enter the final minute of the allotted 4 of injury time here. Devlin, the captain, from the right hand side. There's an infringement inside the penalty area, and it's gone the way of Hearts. And well, that could be that. A bit of an anticlimax there.
Why do players do that? Even if you think he's going to head it, he might not head it clear, he might mistime it. Just let him jump, but you just push him in the back and the attack's done. And that's what 30 seconds now to the end of the match.
Yep. Take it you never did that.
No, I would never be up there for attacking anyway, so I'd be stood in halfway line, well out the way.
Clearance by Clark, headed forward by Fitzwater. Alan Forrest can't bring it under control. Jason Holt helps it forward. Is there one final opportunity in the game for either side? Forward by Penrice, but pretty aimless. And all the way through, Xander Clark will keep it in. They have played the 4 minutes of stoppage time. We're beyond that now. Bruce Anderson goes down, but Alan Muir's seen enough. It is finished goalless in West Lothian. Certainly an improvement in the second half, as both sides lifted the quality, and there were certainly attempts on goal, real opportunities to score.